Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into what it takes to become a valued volunteer with the Anaheim Union High School District. If you've ever thought about getting more involved in your student's school life, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. Everything the district does, it all comes down to this one powerful idea: ensuring the unlimited success of our students. Now, that's not just some nice-sounding phrase. It's the mission. It's the reason why everything happens, and it's why volunteers are so incredibly important. So that brings us to the big question, right? How can you, yes you, be a part of making that success happen? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. First things first, let's talk about the why. Before you jump in, it's so important to understand the real purpose behind the program and, honestly, what's in it for you. Your journey really does begin with that purpose. At the end of the day, the volunteer program is all about connection. It's designed to give parents and caregivers like you a real, hands-on opportunity to be a part of your student's school and their education. It's about bridging that gap so you feel more comfortable, more informed, and more confident. And the benefits for you personally? They're huge. You actually get to know the teachers and staff. You start to understand how the school really works from the inside. And that can open up doors to new opportunities for your student you might have never known about. Plus, you get to meet new people and have a space where you feel comfortable just asking questions. Okay, so we've got the why covered. Now let's get into the how. It's time to think about choosing your own path and figuring out what kind of volunteer you're going to be. Now, here's the first thing you need to know. There's no one-size-fits-all volunteer job. The opportunities are totally different from school to school because each campus has its own unique needs. That's why your best first step is always to just check in with your school and ask, hey, where do you need help? Just to give you a taste of what's out there, you could be helping out with something as vital as food distributions, which are a huge support for our families. Or maybe you're lending a hand during the busy lunch period, just helping things run smoothly. But really, that's just scratching the surface. There are so many other ways to contribute. But before you sign up for a role, there's one quick thing to figure out: which volunteer tier is the right one for you. Let's take a look at what that actually means. Don't worry, the district keeps this super simple. Think of it this way. Tier 1 is for pretty much all the general on-campus volunteering you do during a normal school day. Tier 2 is for more specific situations, like if you were going to chaperone an overnight trip where you'd have unsupervised contact with students. Honestly, for most volunteers, Tier 1 is all you'll ever need. All right, every great team needs a playbook to succeed, right? Well, as a volunteer, your playbook is the code of conduct, and you should think of this less as a list of rules and more as your guide to making a real positive impact every time you're there. And if you only remember one thing from this entire playbook, let it be this: your number one job above all else is to be a positive role model for the students. It's that simple, and it's that powerful. So what does that look like in the real world? It means you're a welcoming face. You're encouraging. You're not just a helper, you're a community leader. You're a mentor. And you're always open to new ideas. You're basically embodying the spirit of the school. Okay, so let's get into a few key plays from that playbook. These are the non-negotiables, the things that make sure the school stays a safe and productive place for everybody. Let's break down the do's and don'ts. They're really straightforward. On the do side, it's all about accountability. You always sign in, you always wear your badge so everyone knows who you are, and of course, you follow the code of conduct. The don'ts are all about setting clear, protective boundaries. No contacting students after school hours, no using school property for personal stuff, and an absolute zero-tolerance policy for bullying or threats. And all of these rules, every single one, really boils down to this one word: safety. The physical safety and the emotional well-being of every single student and staff member is the top priority. Period. No exceptions. And right up there with safety is confidentiality. Look, when you're a volunteer, you might see or hear private things about students or families. It is absolutely crucial that you respect their privacy. What happens at school stays at school. That trust is everything. And finally, a deep foundational commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. This means that as a volunteer, you're an active part of making the school a welcoming, respectful, and culturally responsive place for every single person in the community. Okay, let's tie all of this together. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about your impact and how all of your actions, big and small, connect directly back to student success. You have to remember, your commitment, just showing up with a positive attitude, is about so much more than just completing a task. You are actively helping to build a stronger school culture, an environment where trust can grow and where empathy is cultivated. That's a huge deal. And that brings us right back to where we started. Your involvement directly empowers family and community engagement. And what does that lead to? That's right, the unlimited success of our students. You become a living, breathing part of making that mission a reality.
And that's our quick guide to becoming a volunteer. You now have the playbook and you know the why. So, the only question left is, are you ready to make a difference?